recent episode of El Podcast, that's Spanish for my podcast. I don't know.
Close.
Yeah, I did an episode called "In Defense of Opie."
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
This guy called Chad A&B or whatever the fuck his name is. He used to work for in that building series, but we get talking about the topic. The recently Opie's really going after Anthony Cumia. You know that guy?
I do know Ant. Yeah. See, I call him Ant. That's how well I know him.
Oh, nice.
My buddy Ant. I know him. Yeah.
He's a good guy. But so we were talking about the fact that recently Opie's really been on his streams and on Twitter and stuff, always talking about Anthony used to say the race stuff and the guns and he's all the shit that gets the attention and the triggered libs and all that stuff. Yep. So we were talking about the fact, do you think that today, because apparently I've seen the facts, of course, but apparently compound media numbers are on the rise. The compound YouTube channel's doing great. The whoever that guy compound boss is on Twitter, I don't know, but his
boss?
Yeah, our apartment boss. His Twitter following's going up, and he's always tweeting about whatever Anthony's up to, because not the same guy.
Right.
But do you think that Opie is in a weird way trying to cancel Anthony?
Trying to counsel him? Is that what was the word you used? He's trying to what him?
Cancel him.
You think he's trying to help Anthony out?
No. Cancel him.
Cancel. Oh, yeah. Okay. See, usually I'm good with your accent, but that time it got me. I didn't know what you were saying. No, you know what I think it is? I think that Opie realizes that the only time he's interesting and he gets views and he gets people to click on his show is when he puts Anthony in the title and he talks about Anthony. But he does this weird switcheroo thing where he goes, oh, all Anthony does is talk about me, man. He won't stop talking about me. So he tries to pretend that he's talking about him because he's talking. So it's just like this fucking circular thing where Anthony very rarely talks about Opie. And when he does, it's always hilarious, as we know. Whereas Opie, it doesn't even try to be funny. Opie just goes, yeah, and he ruined Opie and Anthony. I had Anthony on my show a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this. We were talking about how Opie's now claiming, because he's kind of revised history, and he's now claiming, and this is like the rants he's been going off on lately. Yeah, he was just so racist, and then he would go off on these racist rants. It wasn't even the Opie and Anthony show anymore. I don't know what he was doing. He was just doing this right-wing bullshit show. And Anthony's like, it was still a comedy show. What are you talking about? Like, that would be one of the topics they would talk about. But Anthony kept it fun, and him and Jim would still throw jokes in there. And it wasn't like Rush Limbaugh all of a sudden. He wasn't Ben Shapiro. You were still listening to the Opie and Anthony show. And I think that maybe that's the success the compound is having, is you do have this alternative to the mainstream that does go a little bit right-leaning, but it's jokes first. Even when Anthony goes off on a rant, he'll catch himself and be like, obviously we got to tell some jokes or do something fun now. And I think that's the part that Opie's missing, probably. Yeah, but I just think that Opie's, frankly, is attention-seeking with this Anthony stuff, and it's backfiring even more so than before. And it's like, you're not in the position to start losing your audience. When 6 of your episodes in the past 2 weeks are about drinking coffee or trying to photograph people on the beach, who the fuck in November goes to the beach to record podcasts? Idiots. So I've mentioned this theory before, and if I've talked to you about it, then I apologize in advance. Opie's not a good guy. All right. So that's the first thing that I want to establish. Everyone who used to work with him hates him and talks about what a miserable prick he was to work with. He's not a good guy. When I first did my first Opie episode, Who Are These Podcasts was not a popular show at all. And I did my first Opie radio podcast. I was getting notes from people who worked with them 15 years previous, who were reaching out and going, thank you so much for taking this guy down. He's a fucking asshole. It was incredible how I connected with anyone who had ever known the guy. Opie's a bad guy. Now, this is what I want to point out now that we've established that. There's a South Park episode where Eric Cartman is able to purchase the amusement park so he no longer has to wait in line. And it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to him. He gets to go on all the rides. He doesn't have to wait. And he reaches the epitome of success in his mind that it can't get better than this. And then over time, he ends up losing the amusement park. And afterwards, he's worse off because now he's in a place where I used to have this thing and I don't anymore. Even though he's the same place he was at before, he is worse off in his mind. He's more depressed because he had it and he lost it. Think about what Opie had from an audience perspective. You have hundreds of thousands of people following you on Twitter, your YouTube, you had all these subscribers. Obviously, just his radio show, millions of people were listening at certain points. So now you go on and you watch these because people post them in our subreddit. I always get a kick out of it. He'll go on there and tweet something that he's trying to get a response out of or a rise out of. It's got 6 likes on it and 1 retweet, a comment. And I can't imagine how depressing that has to be. I don't know why you would continue to go on. I personally would quit. I would say, okay, this isn't working out anymore. This isn't for me. I'm going to find a new hobby or do something else with your time because it's just embarrassing now. And he should be depressed about it.
And that's the worrying thing is that, like, if we compare Opie and Anthony, since Anthony started off his show, it was working okay, but then it started, I guess, interest was dipping off. So he thought, right, I know, we'll bring in Artie Lang. And then, of course, that didn't work out. And then Dave Landau, and now it's back to, well, I guess you'd say that he's got like a revolving door of co-hosts because Anthony was aware, okay, people are losing interest, or it's not as good, let's mix it up. Whereas with Opie, he's just like, nope, let's go lower and lower tech.
Yeah, right. He's not pivoting in the right direction. It's like Opie certainly is pivoting. And some of it he's been forced to. They forced his hand because he was trying to do the show with Karl Ruiz. And Karl Ruiz, I pronounce it the way he pronounced it for some reason. And then Karl Ruiz passed away. But even before he passed away, Karl Ruiz was trying to start his restaurant. And he was trying to get away from Opie as much as possible. So then, he's got Sherrod and he's got Vic. And he's trying to do this show with his buddies. It was like a hangout show. We'll go to the bar. We'll talk to people. We'll yell at people on the street. That was kind of his show format. Well, now he's lost all of his friends. And he rarely has guests like we established. But he's not pivoting in the right directions. Like, why isn't he learning that no one wants to hear him talk about his coffee or moving his car?
But it's so shit because, like, even the laziest type of podcast he could be. Oh, I watched a TV show last night, or I played the game, where he has nothing to talk about. And I think that the jealousy of him with Anthony, that's basically what it is. It's jealousy.
Yeah.
And then he put out the Joe Rogan interview. What the fuck is that?
Oh yeah, that was funny. He tweeted his Joe Rogan interview recently, right? And that was from years ago.
No, he released the Joe Rogan interview as his podcast, which I don't even know if that's legally allowed. But it's like, this fucking guy. Like, why won't he go on anybody else's show to promote or try to bring an audience in? He's just quit.
You know why he's linking to the Joe Rogan podcast? There was a time when Opie was able to get booked on the biggest podcast in the world, and now the guy won't even return his DMs. So things have gone very poorly for our boy Opie, unfortunately.